Hi, my name is Mickylee, and in this video I want to extend the topic we talked about last time. If you didn't watch the previous video, please check it out. But just as a short reminder, we talked about shell voicings and how and where we can play them on guitar. We play shell voicings, which would be mostly 3rd and 7th, on the middle two strings, D and G. And now I want to see what notes we can play on the first two strings, E and B. For that purpose, we are going to take A major 7, A minor 7, and A7. Let's start with A major 7. So first I need a root. I'm going to take the open A string. Then on the 6th fret of the D string I have G sharp, which is 7th. And on the 6th fret of the G string I have C sharp, which is 3rd. So this is my A major 7 with root, 7th and 3rd. I'm going to check all the notes on the 1st and 2nd string now and see how they relate to this chord. For that purpose I'm going to take all the notes from the 3rd fret all the way up to the 8th fret. The reason I chose this range is because you don't need to stretch that much, and I think it's doable for everyone's hands. Let's start with this note. That would be D on the 3rd fret. If we play it with A major 7, we get this sound. This note D would be 11th, and it is something we consider a void note. A void note is a note that lies 1/2 step above the chord note, which in this case would be C sharp. And if you play it, you need to play it with caution. So I wouldn't really play this voicing very much. Then we have D sharp or E flat, which would be either sharp 11th or flat 5. Very nice sound, which is often used. On the 5th fret we have E, which would just be the 5th. So it's A major 7. Then we have A sharp or F, which would be either sharp 5 or flat 13. That's that sound. It's used pretty often in jazz. Then we have F sharp on the 7th fret. That would be A major 13, also very often used. And then we have G here. This is not really a chord because we have G sharp as major 7th and G as 7th. These two don't really go well together. So this is not very practical. Now we move on to the 1st string. On the 3rd fret we have G again. So same thing, not very practical. Then we have G sharp, which is major 7, but I don't really use that because I avoid doubling the notes in my voicings. So that would be G sharp and G sharp twice. I don't use that often. Then we have A on the 5th fret. A is a root, so nothing wrong there, but we already have it here, so doubling. And we have G sharp here and A here, which would be minor 9th. This is also not that desirable, although it's been used pretty often. So it's on you to decide if you want to use it or not. Then we have B flat, which would be flat 9. And this is not really common extension to use with major 7th chord, so not really. And then we have B, which would be 9th, and this is really nice sound that we use very often. So practically for this chord, on the 2nd string we can use the notes D sharp or E flat, E, F and F sharp. And on the 1st string we can use A and B. Let's combine all of these and hear how they sound. So we have E flat with A, E flat with B, E with A, E with B, F with A, F with B, and F sharp with A, F sharp with B. Now let's move on to A minor 7. We'll take the same root, A, open string. Then we have G on the 5th fret of the D string, which will be 7. We have C on the 5th fret of the G string. And this is our A minor 7 as shell voicing. And we'll repeat all the notes we had in the previous example. So first would be D on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. This is 11th, A minor 11, very often used. Then we have E flat, which would be flat 5, and that makes A minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished. Then we have E again, which is just A minor 7. The next one would be F, or E sharp, which would be either sharp 5 or flat 13. Then we have F sharp, which is A minor 7 13. Sometimes it's used in funk music, but also in jazz. And then we have G, which is 7th, but doubling. So I don't use it that often. On the 1st string, we start with G, which is again 7th, but doubling. Then we have G sharp, which makes no sense because we already have G as 7th, major 7th doesn't go with that. Then we have A, which is root, but we already have it here. B flat is flat 9, that doesn't really go with this chord, but B is 9, and that really sounds very nice. So on the 2nd string we have the notes with practical meaning, which would be D, E flat, E, F, and F sharp. And on the 1st string we have again A and B. Let's combine them and hear how they sound. With D and A, D and B. E flat and A, E flat and B, E and A, just A minor 7, E and B, A minor 9, F and A, F and B, F sharp and A, F sharp and B. The last chord we are going to take a look at is A7, and we need A, G on the 4th string and C sharp on the 3rd string. And now you know the drill already. We start with D. This would also be technically a void note because it lays half tone above C sharp, which is chord note, but especially guitar players play this sound pretty often. Then we have D sharp or E flat, which is either sharp 11 or flat 5, very often used sound. Then we have E, which is again just A7. We have F or E sharp, that would be either A7 sharp 5 or A7 flat 13. Then we have F sharp, which is A7 flat 13. On the 1st string we have G, which is again doubling. Then we have G sharp, which doesn't work. Then we have A, which is just A7. Then we have B flat, flat 9, which is very often used with this chord, with dominant 7 chord. And we have 9, B, which would be A7 9. and that's also very often used. Here we have C as well, which would be sharp 9. And that goes very well. So now we've seen here, practical notes to use would be E flat, E, F, F sharp on the second string, and on the first string we have A, B flat, B, and C. So much more combinations in the dominant 7 chord. Let's try them all out. First we start with E flat, and we put A on top of that. Then E flat with B flat, E flat with B, and E flat with C. The next one is E on the second string. We repeat that with A on the first string, just A7 chord. Then we have B flat. Then we have E with B and E with C. Now we have F on the second string and A on the first. Now with B flat on the first. Now with B on the first string. And C on the first string. Now let's see F sharp with A, with B flat, with B, and last but not least with C. So that would be all from me for now. I hope you had fun. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye!